Now, I'm truly in danger of crying. But fortunately, Hamish chooses this time to come staggering across the stage to congratulate me. Look at her. Look at this one. He hollers, throwing an arm around my shoulders. He's surprisingly strong for such a wreck. I like her. His breath reeks of liquor, and it's been a long time since he's bathed. Lots of... He can't think of the word for a while. Spunk! He says triumphantly. More than you. He releases me and starts from the front of the stage. More than you! He shouts, pointing directly into a camera. Is he addressing the audience? Or is he so drunk he may actually be taunting the Capitol? I'll never know, because just as he's opening his mouth to continue, Hamish plummets off the stage and knocks himself unconscious. He's disgusting, but I'm grateful. With every camera gleefully trained on him, I have just enough time to release a small choked sound method and compose myself. I put my hands behind my back and stare into the distance. I can see the hills I climbed this morning with Gale. For a moment, I yearned for something. The idea of us leaving the district, making our way in the woods. But I know I was right about not running off, because who else would have volunteered for praying? Hamish is squeezed away on a stretcher, and Nephi Junkie is trying to get the ball rolling again. What an exciting day! She warbles as she attempts to straighten her wig, which has listed severely to the right. For more excitement to come, it's time to choose our boy tribute. Clearly hoping to contain her tenuous hair situation, she plants one hand on her head as she closes to the ball that contains the boys' names and grabs the first slip she encounters. She dips back to the podium, and I don't even have time to wish for Gale's safety when she's reading the name. Peter Malak. Peter Malak. Oh no, I think, not him, because I recognize his name, although I have never spoken directly to his honor. Peter Malak. No, the odds are not in my favor today. I watch him as he makes his way toward the stage. Medium height, stocky build, ashy blonde hair that falls in wave over his forehead. The shock of the moment is registering on his face. You can see his struggle to remain motionless, but his blue eyes shows the alarm I've seen so often in Prey. Yet he climbs steadily onto the stage and takes his place. Every junkie asks for volunteers, but no one steps forward. He has two older brothers, I know. I've seen them in the bakery. But one is probably too old now to volunteer, and the other won't. This is standard. Family devotion only goes so far for most people on Ribbon Day. What I did wasn't a radical thing. The mayor begins to read the long, dull treaty of treason as he does every year at this point. It's required, but I'm not listening to a word. Why him? I think. And I try to convince myself it doesn't matter. Peter Malak and I are no friends, not even neighbors. We don't speak. Our only real interaction happened years ago. He's probably forgotten it, but I haven't, and I know I never will. It was during the worst time. My father had been killed in a mine accident 3 months earlier in a bitter January anyone could remember. The numbness of his loss had passed, and the pain would hit me out of nowhere, doubling me over, racking my body with sobs. Where are you? I cried out in my mind. Where have you gone? Of course, there was never any answer. The district had given us a small amount of money as compensation for his death, enough to cover 1 month of grieving, at which time my mother would be expected to get a job. Only she didn't. She didn't do anything but sit propped up in the chair, or, more often, huddled under the blanket on her bed, eyes fixed on some point in the distance. Once in a while, she'd stir, get up as if moved by some urgent purpose, only to then collapse back into stillness. No amount of pleading from Prim seems to affect her. I was terrified. I suppose now that my mother was locked in some dark world of sadness. But at the time, all I knew was that I had lost not only a father, but a mother as well. At 11 years old, with Prim just 7, I took over as head of the family. There was no choice. I bought our food at the market and cooked it as best I could, and tried to keep Prim and myself looking presentable. Because if it had become known that my mother could no longer care for us, the district would have taken us away from her and placed us in a community home. I'd grown up seeing those home kids at school. The sadness, the marks of angry hands on their faces, the hopelessness that curled their shoulders forward. I could never let that happen to Prim. Sweet, tiny Prim, who cried when I cried before she even knew the reason, who brushed and played my mother's hair before we left for school, who still polished my father's shaving mirror each night because she'd hate the layer of coal dust that settled on everything in the scene. The community home would crush her like a bug, so I kept our predicament a secret. But the money ran out, and we were slowly starving to death. There's no other way to put it. I kept telling myself if I could only hold out until May, just May 8, I would turn 12 and be able to sign up on the Tessery and get that precious grain and oil to feed us. Only there were still several weeks to go. We could well be dead by then. Starvation is not an uncommon fate in District 12. Who hasn't seen the victims? Older people who can't work, children from the family with too many to feed, those injured in the mines, struggling through the street, and one day you come upon them sitting motionless against the wall or lying in the meadow. You hear the wheels from the house, and the peacekeepers are called in to retrieve the body. Starvation is never the cause of death officially. It's always the flu, or exposure, or pneumonia, but that fools no one.